Hello, fabulous Libra. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of November 2015, General Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Well, we have got some very special activity taking place thanks to a new moon happening in the middle of the month, a full moon in the later part of the month that is also activating a very rare and important conversation that is going to speak to our collective experience. Already has started, but will continue to speak to our collective experience as we head into the new year. So let's start with the new moon, new possibilities. And this new moon is very positively speaking with other power players in the sky, happening with Mercury in the sky. And what this means is having conversations that make a light bulb come on, reading the right thing, having the right interaction, text messages coming through. And for you, all of this means it makes you and leads you towards being made richer in some way. So this new moon is happening in a part of the sky for you that is decidedly financial and is speaking to a bright new beginning where it comes to the money you make and also the money you spend as well. So this could be if you are open to having a new job or you're wanting a new job. This is really great energy to have something come about for you that helps you to feel prosperous, that helps you to create for yourself some sort of a regular income. But this also could be a really great time for you to think about if an idea should come. This is a good time to either implement that idea or trust that inspiration and run with it as part of creating greater wealth for yourself. But I actually think that because this particular new moon is speaking with Jupiter, speaking with Pluto, I actually think that chances are very good that something will just kind of fall in your lap of sorts, right? Just kind of fall into place. Very likely based on work that you've already done, positive impressions you've already made. This is going to be a money-making opportunity that finds you through staying in touch and through people reaching out to you by phone or Facebook or social media or text message, right? So people that you didn't expect to pop up, or people popping up who tell you that, hey, that other person, someone that you know, actually has been telling me some really amazing things about you, and I'd like you to consider applying for this job. If you have any kind of interview situation set up right about now, the chance of you actually, it's not just about making the better impression, but it's going to be very rooted in the skills. Do you have the skills or not? And it's very possible that if you are going for something, doesn't matter if it's a promotion, doesn't matter if it's a brand new job, but if you're reaching out for a way to create greater prosperity for yourself, chances are that there's a better fit and a more prosperous fit for you that surprises you, that you didn't see coming. So it could be that you're going for one type of job, but then the person interviewing you sees your skill level and says, you know what, hey, there's actually another position available and I think you would be much better suited for it, and it's like 2 pay grades higher. That type of situation can manifest for you as well. So use this energy well. This is positive energy, good energy, fresh starts, and whatever you start putting into place now really will reap some wonderful fruit as you move forward. And as it more fully comes to fruition, as you more fully embody it and live it 6 months down the road. So start now knowing that things will only get better and better forward from here. And again, I don't think there's a whole lot that you'll have to do. It's not like you have to go out there and you've got to hustle, you got to make something happen. I think it's going to be presented to you based on some very good impressions that you have already made. So we move forward into the month, and towards the later part of the month, we have a full moon taking place. Now this full moon is happening in fellow air sign Gemini. So this is good. When you have any kind of major celestial event and it's happening in a fellow element to your own, it tends to mean that you are able to utilize this energy more easily than others might. Able to utilize this energy that much more to your advantage and that much more readily. Now, this energy will be more acutely felt for those of you who are born in the very first days of your sign. So if you're born right around the 25th or so, you are likely to feel this energy more than others. But everybody out there should be feeling a culmination of emotions, so very strong emotions in some cases, coming up to the surface. And at the same time, feeling like you can't fully express them at the level that you would like. You can't fully express them with the sense of not censoring yourself, right? So there's an element here of restriction. There's an element here of you wanting to make movement, you wanting to say something, you wanting to make progress, and yet you've got to hold back a little bit. Understand that really it's one of those universal laws, right? It's like there are times of having to pull back. They say tides come in, tides go out. There are times when you've got to hold that tide in, knowing that the moment will come for that energy to be poured forward and for you to pull in even greater results. It's just part of life, part of the cycle of life, one of many universal laws that are out there. So this is part of life. And so right now, you might feel a little bit restricted, a little bit like you wish things were going a little bit differently, and a little bit like, okay, now I got to deal with this. Now there's this bureaucracy. Now there's this paperwork. Now there's this person I got to talk to. Now, like that type of thing. It's not as serious as it feels serious. Now, don't get me wrong. I know, and I want to acknowledge that for some of you out there, it may feel like a serious time and a consequential time, and in some ways it may be, but things have a way of balancing themselves out. I think your life has certainly shown you this, especially when I look back, like when we go way back, a few years back. I remember Saturn moving through your sign, right? And also right now you've got Uranus in your opposite sign, okay? So you know that things they can come in, they can go, and you know that sometimes things can feel really tough, they can take an unexpected turn, and then sometimes it is just that turn that was needed for things to go remarkably well. So all of this energy is taking place for you with this particular full moon in a part of the sky for you that has to do with higher education, like university. It has to do with long distance travel and immigration issues as well. And it has to do with legal issues also, okay? So I've been advising a lot of the signs out there. This particular full moon is activating a more long-term energy that has to do with a very rare phenomenon taking place, a conversation between Saturn and Neptune. And you should notice in the coming weeks, I'll make a special video about that because it is going to be very interesting for us as a collective, but also in our individual journeys as well. So you've got this conversation happening like all of us, and it is being activated by this full moon. So here's the thing, this particular conversation and this particular full moon says something to me about, and especially this Neptune-Saturn conversation, it says something to me about the image or the video or the glamour or the illusion not being representative of the reality, okay? So there's this disconnect that is actually happening there. Like there's this certain, ultimately, if we root this energy in compassion, which again I'll talk about in a special video, things go remarkably well. But in our personal life, this is going to be part of our learning in our own unique ways. And for you, with this particular full moon, you are going to have to be mindful of how it is that images are coming across and are being interpreted, okay? Especially where it comes to, for you, things that are related to higher education, legal matters, and matters of long distance travel and matters of immigration as well. So this is Neptune, right? Neptune in Pisces. If you know that you are right now applying for some kind of immigration or trying to make something happen with yourself along those lines, then maybe you should not have a Facebook profile picture of you with a bong. You know, like that's so what this symbol could play out like, right? So these are, I mean, this is, in one sense, yeah, we could say, okay, it's common sense. On another hand, right, that might not even be, you might be at like some museum and it's just a big joke and it's not even something that you're about, but it's the illusion that comes across that you end up having to be accountable for, that ends up in some way influencing or speaking to, or you having to go back and sort of explain yourself where it comes to that. So that's what we're trying to avoid here, right? And this is really more active in the later part of the month, so no need to get paranoid, right? But just to be mindful. In the later part of the month, this is energy that is playing out. So if you know that you've got some legal matter that's happening and you're trying to make an assertion to help yourself, then make sure that whatever you're posting online, whatever information is out there, especially in terms of visual media, it is congruent with that, right? There's this very famous story about a person who, very famous story, I saw it on a documentary. Somebody went into a house to rob the house, and then while he was robbing the house, he logged into his Facebook account on their computer and took pictures of himself actually doing this on his profile. And of course, you know, he was caught. It was very silly for him. I mean, every step of the way is silly with that. And I'm not saying that kind of thing could happen here, right? But I am saying that if you know that that you have something that matters to you a lot, something that's very important, then just make sure that things that could be interpreted in ways that you're not intending them to be interpreted, you might be completely honest, but you just don't want to spend that time and waste that time having to explain something that looks a certain way but isn't that way, okay? So just be a little bit mindful of that. But having said that, I actually think, and I actually really love as I look at this conversation, that you are thinking about your place in the world. You are thinking about what image are you projecting and how does it fit into your self-concept, and where is it that you desire to be more? Where is it that you desire to experience a greater sense of connection with the world, with everyone and everything, stepping up in front of more of the world as well? All of these are going to be issues that you're going to be exploring with this particular full moon. So if there's having to do with long distance travel, as I said, immigration, it could be a tourist visa, it could be, you know, citizenship, you will sort that out, but there very likely may be, right around this time, some forms that you need to go over again, some advice that you need to get again, and making sure that everything is done correctly, right? Quote unquote, make sure everything is done in a solid way, in a correct way as well. If you are, and as I said, there's a legal matter, so you know how to deal with that, immigration matters, okay? Higher education as well, you really want to be sure that you are like above reproach, especially where it comes to the ethics that you bring to what you're doing. And so what I mean by this is, this could suggest that, you know, just, we all know that it's important for you to present your own work, right? This idea of plagiarism, especially in higher levels of education, it's an issue, and it's something that a lot of people feel a lot of pressure of. You know, it's like more of a cultural thing. I don't need to get into all of it, but if you are in university right now, it is very, very important with this particular full moon. Okay, the rest of the year, do what you want. But with this particular full moon, it is very important that you are doing absolutely original work, that you are doing your citations very properly, right? And utilizing the right format, because there are different formats that different professors like where it comes to citations. Make sure you have your citations are impeccable. It's almost as if what you're actually saying doesn't nearly matter as much as the format in which you're putting it in. Are you citing things correctly? Are you saying words and clearly making it very clear where it's your words and where it is not? That is going to be very, very important. So be impeccable with that. You focus in on that, you will do extremely well with the work that you present. Really, form, citation, so that you are completely above reproach of any kind of, plagiarism stuff happening at all. So that's my advice if you are in an institution of higher learning. But having said that, also, I do think that this could be a time when you show yourself something about just what you're capable of and how smart you are, and that, yeah, actually you do have a way of thinking for yourself and you can actually do the work. That should be something that is truly very affirming to you. What I love about this month for you is that it is leading you to a greater sense of self-worth and a greater sense of prosperity, emotional and practical prosperity as well. There's also a real understanding for you right now that yes, you are a citizen of the world. Yes, you can share in bigger and brighter ways. And if you are smart about it, those bigger ways of being on the world or being in the planet or exploring ideas or just putting yourself out there can actually end up being experiences that are, in addition to being experiences that make you feel truly rooted in a sense of integrity, but also really do open up a greater sense of self and a greater sense of yourself in this world.